15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here, now your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for today's episode. We missed you guys yesterday, but schedules come up and things come up with kids and different things like that. So I take responsibility for that. But had a great time last night. Took my middle king Nate to a Charlotte Hornets game for his little birthday celebration. So that was really cool. The Hornets won by 20. So that was nice to see. DT joining me today, this afternoon brunch, as always, riding shotgun, my co-host, Adam Dump Truck Rupsick. Holla at the crew, DT, with a little bit of Saturday brunch. I mean, I'm down with it. Nothing wrong
Let's go,
with it.
Nickel City. Rob, what's happening? Beautiful fall day out here. What do we got? November 7th, November 8th.
Yeah, 9th.
Beautiful fall day, clear skies in the rough. Most of the leaves are down, but it just got that football air. That football air out there. Got a nice slate of college football today. Sabres at home at 1. Nice day in the buff.
Yeah, man, it is a nice day. It's a nice day down here in Charlotte as well, and the weather's nice. And like you said, it's just that fall weather, that football weather. It makes you feel like it's football time. Football just ended for us down here last week. It was a bowl game for Nate's team, but other than that, man, it's a nice weather to wait. Now, I'm excited for our special guest tonight because, as you know, DT, I started to get in that Twitter space and started to get really active on it, and I started to enjoy arguing with people and fighting people, different things like that. And it's funny because this is a guy that I didn't really have to fight too much because he liked a lot of my takes. I liked some of his takes as well. And we kind of just, formed a little Bills brotherhood over that. Joining us, Scott Frey, excuse me. Check him out at Scott M. Frey. Holla at the crew, Scott. Good to have you on.
What's up, guys? Man, I'm glad to be here. I've never been on a Bills podcast, and man, this is a passion of mine. So that's how we got hooked up on Twitter. And for the most part, I think we see a lot of stuff similarly. But what's cool about the interwebs and podcasts is if we don't, we can talk about it. So
that's right. Super
stoked to meet you guys. And I'm in Ohio.
Okay.
And Rupsick, you just described my day over here, man. It's crisp and cool. The leaves are down. It's right in the throes of football season, and I'm glad you brought up the Sabres because it's okay to talk about them right this minute, this weekend. And we'll see how it goes today.
Almost back to 500.
Almost. Just scratching and clawing. It's funny, when I talk and I looked at the situation that we got coming up tomorrow. Before we look forward to Indy, I wanted to just touch on that dramatic win that the Bills had over Miami, and I know that it's Saturday now, so everybody's already look forwarding to tomorrow, but really, as you take a step back, DT, it was interesting. What a wild game that was and a wild ride. I think the Bills at multiple points looked like they could have lost that game. I think that at certain points in time, it looked like we were going to run away with things, but man, Miami just played us tough, and it was one of those games where it was not like that first matchup. DT Tua was back. He was healthy. He was out there slinging it. They were running that little short game, and it was working, man. I think they only had like one deep shot to Tyreek Hill over the middle during the game, but everything else was just dink and dunk, death by 1,000 cuts. It was working, DT. That run game was breaking off like 7 yards a pop, man. Achane and Mostert. That was a little bit dicey for me to DT. Keep it real with the crew. That was a little bit dicey.
I'll also keep it real with the crew of what do we got now? 14-2, 1-7 versus the Finns.
Yes.
14-2, 1-7 versus the Finns, and all the division aside, everything the build up the squish the fish, and it being a divisional matchup, you knew you ain't going to blow them out twice every year, right? So
right.
Expect to win. And the Patriots, when Tom Brady was 102 against the Bills in his career, they didn't blow the Bills out every week either. So expect the Dolphins to kind of come back. They're trying to claw back into their season with Tua back, get back into that playoff push. But never really a doubt. It really was a stereotypical Bills game this year, kind of a slow start. We're kind of always in a little bit of control, had chances to kind of blow the doors open that didn't really happen. And, obviously resulted all the way down to the last play of the game. So good win. We'll take it 7-2, but got to expect the Dolphins to come correct, and they did. But at the same time, the Bills kind of were in control, and it could have been a lot worse than it even was.
Yeah, Scott, it was interesting watching that game before the Bass drama at the end. I was like, when Miami didn't go for 2, and we saw it like in 3 different instances, and then again on Monday night, and it was crazy because I was telling all my family that was at the house, and I was telling Jody DT, I was like, they should go for 2, and she doesn't really follow football that much. But then Rebecca was here, Bobby and Nate's mom, and then I was like, they're gonna go for 2. I'm like, they're gonna go for 2, and we could fuck this game up. Scott, I was nervous, and then I was shocked when they didn't. And we saw it play out with New England and Tennessee. We saw it play out with Tampa Bay and Kansas City. And then we saw it again the other night with Cincy and Baltimore. I have no idea why Mike McDaniel, team on the road, didn't go for 2. I expected it. It didn't. And it quite shocked me.
Make your own victory, make your own fate, make your own luck, be aggressive. Especially, again, there's this thought about maybe the lesser team on the road, go snatch it, grab it. You don't want to put that Bills offense on the field in overtime any longer than you have to. Don't press your luck. And McDaniels went conservative. And, as it turns out, right, we hit the 61-yard bomb, which good for T-Bass, man. I was so – he did. We did. All of us did. Collective, sigh of relief. Let's hope he keeps it going. But, man, for confidence sake, that's got to help. But, it was a classic division brawl, and sometimes records don't matter. And there's a lot of angst between these teams. You had J-Po come back, had a little helmet-to-helmet there at the end, which I thought was the right call. I wouldn't guess for a second that man was malicious in any way, shape, or form. No. But, man, that did not hurt us as far as getting that first down by penalty. It kind of hurt Mr. Coleman, though. I'm a little nervous about that. I hope he's all right.
We'll get to talking about that for sure.
Great to see the Bills on the right side of one of those because we all, we're not going to mention any of the nicknames we've given those games, but we've all felt that pain where it didn't work out our way. Miami classic approach to the Bills D. Let's get them over the middle. It works. And they made us pay a little bit in the run game. But Achane and Mostert have always given us a tough time. And so I wasn't surprised to see that necessarily. But, it never felt like, oh, man, we're toast. And I'll go as nihilistic as anybody on the internet in the middle of a game, it's over, the world's ending. And then 2 plays later, never mind. You go into fan mode where you lose sense of rational thought for a few minutes.
Absolutely.
But, it was an awesome game.
I think it was the right call for McDaniel to kick the extra point. I mean,
why is that?
On the Dolphins' part, because what were the Bills in the second half? 4 possessions, 4 scores.
Yes.
They weren't being stopped as much as we weren't able to stop the Dolphins. They weren't stopping 1-7 at all, getting down the field. So even if you don't go for 2, the game's or you go for 2 and don't get it, it's over.
Sure.
If you get it, they still have the ball with 130 and got to go down and just kick the field goal to beat you anyway. And
I think that was a little bit of a different situation than like the Tampa game
down to the last
the New England game. Those are situations where you can win it.
38,
right? There was, and that's an eternity for most NFL teams, particularly 17.
With a team that was moving the ball 4 for 4 possessions in the second half. So looking back, I don't blame them at all for doing that, and I'm glad. Obviously, we got the better end of it.
Oh boy, sure.
Now, it was funny watching T-Bass because you're absolutely right, Scott. Everybody in Bills Mafia was happy for him for sure, and I know that I agree with that sentiment. It's funny because when I was looking on Twitter though before, everybody was cursing about when he had missed that one kick. He missed the extra point, I think it was, or whatever it was, and it's funny how just how volatile and how quickly your attitude could change because people were talking, get him out of here, fire him, get rid of him, and then at the 61-yarder. Now, were you guys surprised? Because I wasn't surprised that McDermott trotted him out there. I think that was one of the situations where if you punt that ball, and for some reason something go shitty, I think that McDermott really can't survive that. You know what I mean? Not that they're going to fire him, but that we're just going to be out there with the pitchforks. I was in a situation where I looked at it, Scott, where I was not surprised when they trotted him out on the field. I didn't think he was going to make it at the same time, but I thought that it was the right decision just because of the fact that, there's not really much else you could do other than punt it back to him, and I didn't want to see that.
Yeah, and you give T-Bass that little confidence boost just by sending him out there, and there's value in that. But you also give yourself an opportunity to say, okay, if he drills this, awesome. If he does not, after a missed extra point and a doink off the upright for an extra point, now you just build the case that we really probably need to make a change at the position. So it's kind of a win-win in that regard if you want to get all down into the granular nuance. But
do you think that was part of it?
Could be, McDermott, he's a character guy. He's like, let's give this guy every opportunity and let the player make it happen or don't make it happen. I think that's an interesting thought there, right? Does that happen in professional sports where it's more of a business decision, right? Like, okay, if he goes out there and misses, we're justified to cut him.
Right.
It certainly doesn't make the case any harder.
If he goes out there and makes it, it's all good. We win the game. It's, not a win-win, because if you lose the game, it's not a win, but a win to the organization saying, okay, now we can rightfully make this move and get rid of this guy. Yeah. So that's, is that what he went out
interesting.
there?
That's interesting. Yeah. That's a pressure situation. And if you want to make it playoff equivalent, you might need him, not necessarily from 61 yards, but you might need him in the playoffs. We saw that last year, unfortunately, bear out the wrong way against Kansas City. You might need him to make a clutch kick, and no better way to kind of put his put the nuts to the cutting board other than just sending them out there for everybody. Packed stadium. It's a wonderful day. It's a divisional rival. Go win the game.
That's what I'm thinking. We got the East by the throat. Let's finish it. And if he whiffs on that and we lose the game, you've just opened the door a crack for the Dolphins. And I really want to put them out of their misery. Just be done this year.
Absolutely.
Go away. And so mission accomplished. So that was cool. But yep.
I'm definitely in agreement on that. Now, as we transition, because, I know it's Saturday now, so we're all getting hyped up and ready for tomorrow's game. It's interesting because, I named the episode the way that I did because of the fact that normally I'm good for these games. I'm good for, knowing that the Bills are not going to, fall into any type of lull or anything like that. And DT's always there to remind me that these are professionals and that they'll keep everything focused. DT, I'm actually a little bit more nervous than I normally would be for a quote unquote trap game like tomorrow's got coming up. And it's just because of the opponent on the other side. And we'll talk about Kansas City and take a peek towards that at the end of the show. But you've got a matchup here, DT, on the road, a team that has now changed quarterbacks for some odd reason. They left Anthony Richardson and just, go to Joe Flacco. That makes no sense to me if you're actually trying to build the team and try to actually find out answers about your quarterback. I think it's a horrible mistake that they made by going to Joe Flacco. He follows up that horrible decision by playing some real bad football last week. It was atrocious. I'm interested to know what you think, DT. Is it just the fact that maybe Joe Flacco has no way to beat us, or the fact that the Bills invite the run? We've talked a lot about that this week, how they ask teams to run on them. We saw it again with Miami last week. So because that's their defensive approach, they want to keep the ball out of the air and find a way to get the ball on the ground. They've got a great run game with Jonathan Taylor. We've seen that close up, DT, you and I, at a Bills game a couple of years ago where they beat the brakes off of us, and I drove up all the way from Charlotte to see that massacre. I'm interested to see what your feeling is on tomorrow, because I'm a little bit more worried about a trap game. Not that Indy can beat us or that they're better than us, but just that there might just be a lingering eye towards next week, because next week could just be so big. Even if if the Bills win, then next week really could be for the number one seed. I know it's early still; we got half the season left, but this could really come into focus next week in Orchard Park at One Bills Drive.
I think that's true. Can't overlook anybody in the league, but this is a nice month we're on right here of very similar opponents kind of across the board, going back to that Jets game on Monday night through now. You have the Jets, then the Seahawks, then the Dolphins, and this. Am I correct in that order here? Did I miss one?
Yes, you got it.
And the Titans were in there too. But that was a little lesser than them. It's a very similar, situation of you're the better team. You got to go in there and get the win. And there's trap game scenarios, trap game theories on all these games leading up to this. And really, what is that going to entail? The in this Colts team doesn't give me any hope that the Colts can beat, the Bills in that regard, because
Correct.
like you said, they have the run game. Jonathan Taylor, what do you have, 200 yards against us in that one game?
Oh my
And
gosh,
Isaiah
yeah.
McKenzie fumbled
4
the kickoff.
touchdowns or some shit like that.
That
It
was
horrible.
That was some shit. But
It was horrible.
invite the run,
Mhm.
that's fine. We had it again last week with the Dolphins. It looked as if they were kind of gashing us, but either of those guys were even close to 100 yards.
Right.
So
Mhm.
so it's the fact of the Bills defense kind of looks like you're getting gashed, but really you're not. As bad as it looks.
I agree with that.
Granted, I don't want to see them move the ball as well as Miami did, because that led to problems late in the game. But if Jonathan Taylor's all they got, that passing offense was brutal last week. I mean, the defense had to get a pick 6 to get them 13 points on the board. I think it's one of those games where it's an inferior opponent. You can't overlook them. Yes, they have a strong run, but even if that gashes us, I think 24 points wins this game.
Yeah, Scott, what's your feel on it? The only thing that's giving me trepidation is the fact that they're human. So because these players are human, they know the standings, they know the schedule, they know the lineup of the games. Sometimes those players will always joke and act, "Oh, I don't even know who we're playing this week." That's a bunch of BS half the time. They know exactly what's going on, and they know that Kansas City is coming to town. They know that they're undefeated, and they know that if they have a chance and to take care of business on tomorrow, that game is for the 1 seed. In the interim, for right now, next week, it's for the 1 seed, and I think I think human nature sometimes makes it hard to ignore it, and I just think that I'm giving a little bit of credence to the fact that these guys are human. That's all.
Yep, I think there's truth to that for sure. As far as the Colts go, this thing about the Bills inviting teams to run, I think there's a lot to that. You look at our back end, you look at a guy like Damar Hamlin. He's not going to go knock down a pass. He's not going to pull a Micah Hyde and run down to the corner by the end zone at the last second and knock away a pass to a Patriots receiver. But Damar Hamlin can tackle. That boy can tackle. He takes smart angles. He's tough, and he's good against the run.
Okay.
And so I'm fine with teams running on us. I'd rather have them run on us than try to throw all over the back end of our back end. Jonathan Taylor's frightening. My son is a Patriots fan. I don't know if I should even mention that publicly. And so I took him to see the Pats and the Colts last year, and Jonathan Taylor did a number on the Pats. Like, I've seen it up close, and it's scary.
Yeah.
But I think Buffalo's smart enough and talent top to bottom on the roster. I think we should beat them as long as we play smart football. We play our game and we stay aggressive on offense. My trepidation comes from, Amari Cooper is questionable and Coleman is out. And our wide receiver room right now is not ideal. I mean, Shakir's cooking, but Shakir needs guys like Cooper and Coleman on the field to enable him to do what he does. And Coleman's a great screen blocker. We've started to see that. And that's where Shakir scores. So, we brought up the guy, we just brought him up twice. I lost his name. The other from the receiver room. Virgil. Yes.
Virgil, yeah.
So I'm praying that Virgil can block so that we can keep the Shakir screen game. But I think we're going to be running the football. We've got 2 really dynamic backs, and I think you're going to get a healthy dose of Davis and Cook in whatever order. I think you're going to see Kincaid get some more targets. And I'm just hoping that Amari Cooper can get on the field to draw some defense and make a couple plays. And I see like Buffalo just taking advantage of those things, being smart and winning in maybe not a blowout type fashion, but, something like a 24-16, 24-20, get it in the rearview mirror and move on and prepare for Kansas City. We've got some tricky injuries right now, especially interior D line. That doesn't help us in the run game. So, but TB's back there at linebacker, Bernard's back in, and I'm confident with Hamlin. Taron Johnson, we get excited about him as a like a nickel or a slot corner because he's awesome. But man, he punched that ball out, that little peanut punch against Mostert. Man, bring Jonathan Taylor to the outside and see what happens. 7's going to be over there. So while the run game is obviously a concern, I feel like we're going to handle it well enough.
Yeah.
Right. It won't be pretty.
Yeah.
But I think we'll overcome that.
And it's interesting that you stole my notes, Scott, because DT, that you already know I'm a wide receiver nut. I'm a pass game nut, and I was worried about these injuries. It's just weird, these wrist injuries that we've seen throughout the week. And obviously we talked about the all pro Poe. He hits Coleman, and it looked like it was helmet to helmet, and it looked like it was going to be a concussion. That was the first thing that I thought that he was.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
And DT, it turns out that his wrist is all messed up, and then Cooper's dealing with the wrist injury, and like I don't know, man. I'm just worried about the wide receiver core. Maybe Scott's right, and they just lean into the run game. I don't know what you think their approach is going to be tomorrow. I'd love to hear your thoughts, DT, because if it's a run game heavy game plan, can we be successful that way? Because I don't know if I bag on Joe Brady all the time for running the ball too much, but I still know where my bread is buttered, and that's Josh Allen. If he's not even a part of the offense in respects to attacking them down the field vertically, then what kind of offense is it going to be tomorrow?
True, but some of the biggest answers to the bell this year from this Buffalo Bills offense has been this offensive line stepping up in a few situations.
Okay.
That Jets Monday night game, those boys were moving people. Those boys were making holes on a very good defensive front from the New York Jets. And this, the Indianapolis defense is definitely better than their offense, I'd say. If you stack rank them, there's some, a little older in some areas, but some all pros in there with DeForest Bunker and company all over the place.
They got their linebacker back.
So I need the offensive line to step up and answer that bell that they have done a few times this year of just moving people and increasing that openness to the run game where Ray Davis is running through semi-truck holes and James Cook doesn't need as much room, but, can still get it done and then work there. They love this, East and West type of pass game they're working on and kind of go with that to open the game up. We talk about, yes, our receiving core is not looking good going into this week, but on the other side of the ball, it's the same thing. I mean, they're person only, which might be our second or third receiver, and Michael Pittman is not going to play most likely. And then so who are their horses? Who do they have? Yeah. And it goes down to Joe Flacco at this point in his career. He's a glorified Mason Rudolph, right? So we saw Mason Rudolph with a very similar type of team in the Tennessee Titans right here, right? They a little better defense. They're a little east and west. They invited the run. And that's what we're going to see from the Colts offense too. So I agree. We might not be able to get out there and put up, 34 points, be prolific, and Josh throws for 350 and 4. Right. But if that offensive line answers the bell again and we can open up those lanes, like I said earlier, we only need 24 points to win this game. Yeah, so you got to look at the other side. Yes, we might not be as prolific as we need to be down the stretch offensively, but 24 points is all we need.
Yeah, and I think Josh is going to get set up to do some running maybe. And look, Ray Davis goes 63 yards on a little check down.
He looks so good, Scott.
If you get blocking going and he makes 2 guys miss, now granted that was some atrocious tackling. Let's not get too crazy on that.
But he's looked good though. He's looked great.
He's like Zach Moss with more attitude. He's just a bowling ball with teeth, And so just get him a little space and mix it up between him and Cook, throw the ball to those guys. And get Josh a little room to do what he does. And it doesn't need to be the wide receiver day.
Okay.
Right. I think we can survive without. Now look, man, guys downfield catching balls, Coleman winning 50-50s. I live for that stuff, man, because Josh Allen is so much fun that way.
Yes.
But I don't know that we're going to need that against KC.
Yes.
And I'm hoping we can just escape the Colts, get our win, take care of our business, and get focused for who.
And this team is showing anything. They've been very chameleon-like all year. Josh Allen goes for 304 against the Jaguars, and then the next game has 131. And they still win. So
attribute that to game plan.
Yeah,
they game plan.
And Josh, I've talked about it all year. Just the composure of 1-7 and the vibe of him back there is a lot different this year. It feels like he's just kind of chilling, going down the highway on cruise control. There's still a lot under the hood. And, if that's like, hey, we're in a construction zone, we got to go 45 the next hour and a half, then we're going to go 45 the next hour and a half. We're still going to get to our destination at a reasonable time, but you can't be getting no tickets through the construction zone.
The fines double.
I love what you said about Josh's composure, right? But he's still going to hero if and when it's needed. He's never going to go away. And I love that. Yeah,
he ran in that touchdown with the Miami game.
And the pass to Quentin Morris. What was that? Yeah, who does that, man? So that's there. That's always going to be there. You just can't rely on it for your identity. And I think that's where we got trapped, maybe under Dable and a little bit under Dorsey, and at first under Brady. But it feels like that we game plan for situational football, and that's the Chiefs. That's why they're working on a third straight Super Bowl, right?
Yeah,
they know how to do situational football, and I feel like the Bills are growing into that. I need our coaches to do a little better
Yeah.
Like, right?
Don't
That's
get
like
me
the last
started.
piece of the puzzle, but it feels like our game plan is
Mhm.
going towards situational. Here's what we got. Here's what we should do
What do
versus
we need to do to be
hero
successful
ball.
today?
Yeah.
And we'll
And
worry about the
Josh,
rest of it later.
yeah. And Josh is in that mode more often than not. But it's like I love what you said. It's under the hood. It's there. When
Yeah.
we got to push the button, bam.
And
the
this
nitrous kicks in.
and hero mode against the Indianapolis Colts at 1:00 on November 9th
Yeah, it's not.
That's like
it shouldn't be
that's like
needed.
fourth,
Shouldn't
fifth
be needed.
option, fourth,
Right,
fifth, sixth
right.
option. If it gets to that, like, oh damn, okay, we are really against the ropes. They're not up on us by 20 points in the fourth quarter. Us against the ropes, like, oh shit, we might be down a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and then 1-7 says, okay, enough with this BS. Let me give me the ball. We're scoring 6. I'm getting out of here with the dub. Like, this is a game where hero mode is way down on the need chart, but if it's needed, it's going to be in a situation where I'm more confident than I ever have been. Like, okay, we still got him late in the game when it's going. Hero mode against, a better team in a better situation might come a little sooner. Here, it's coming way down the chart, and if it does come, we still got a chance late. So,
and I'm with Rob though, man. Like, who you going to hero mode to? Because I got Cooper banged up, I got Coleman out, I got Shakir blanketed. I got these young guys that don't have a lot of. Where's Curtis Samuel?
Mac Hollins.
Mac
Hollins has more touchdowns this year than we were talking starters. When we were like, we have to fill this. We have to fill Gabe Davis's spot. Mac Hollins is on pace to have way more touchdowns.
And that touchdown against Miami, he got separation in the end zone.
I mean,
that was scheme. That was scheme, though. That was scheme. They schemed that up. They kept running that play.
I don't love this. I'm not saying it's our end all be all, but hey, if it's guys that we didn't think might be there, and if Curtis Samuel does anything, that's a plus for us.
Screen to Samuel. Let's see if it's there.
Oh God. I love it. Now, as we transition, today's Saturday brunch episode is presented by 26 Shirts here on Buffalo Fanbase, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that DT and I simulcast on. Head on over to 26shirts.com for all of your latest Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo City themed t-shirts. Again, portions of the proceeds go to a great cause. Again, shout out to the General, the Godfather, Del Reed, running a great site over there at 26 Shirts. Head on over there. They've got great content creators creating great, cool t-shirts. And again, portions are going to go to a family that's in need across Western New York or across the world. So head on over there. You can do a lot worse with your money. Now, as we transition, fellas, now shout out to the crew, by the way. Now, these are the lifers, DT. I mean, we got Noah here. We got Gianna here. We got Robbie here. We got Brett and Seth and Mike. Listen, those are the lifers. Those are the Nickel City Crew OGs. We really appreciate you guys. My apologies for last week. It really wasn't on me, but just because it is my show, I want to apologize for last week. I think that IG Live was the only people that caught it. We had some problems with our streaming service. Again, it wasn't on me, but this is my baby. This is my show, and DT's the co-host, so I wanted to apologize to Nickel City Crew for last week. So in keeping with that theme, we just said that one went into the ether. So this is actually episode 25. We're not going to name it episode 24. This is episode 25, season 4. And the lifers last week, like Seth, they heard us last week on IG Live, but we apologize. We had some problems. We are back on. We're ready to go every week, and we shouldn't have any more hiccups. But we do appreciate you guys on IG last week that followed us. Now, I think we've got another giveaway coming up for the Nickel City Group Tailgate Report later in the show. But before we get there, I don't play for the Buffalo Bills. I'm just a mad, rabid fan. So I don't have to go week to week. DT, Scott, when I tell you that I want the game to go so damn fast tomorrow. I just want it to go, and I want no injuries, and I want everything to just be smooth because, boy, I can't wait for those MFs from Kansas City to come on down again one more time. Now, obviously, you already know my position, DT. There is no revenge. It's not the stakes are not the same. So because of that, I think that's all just fluff and stuff that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better. That's just mad coping and stuff like that. It's not going to be the divisional round. It won't be and make an atonement for it. But boy, what have the Buffalo Bills not done yet throughout this meteoric rise of Josh Allen? They have never had the one seed. DT just put up the one for those that are not listening, are not watching. I mean, it's the only thing left on the checkerboard. It's the only thing that's left besides, obviously getting to the Super Bowl itself. And that's my ultimate goal. That's all I want from the Buffalo Bills in this regime is just to get there, and I'll let the chips fall. DT, you can go a long way if you don't have to play an extra damn game. What happened when that Pittsburgh game? We got hurt. we got hurt. We have never had the 1 seed. If we could just grab that 1 seed just 1 year, I like our chances like astronomically better. I'm mad at the NFL for going to 7 teams. I'm mad at the NFL for stopping with the 2-team buys. That's the reality that we're in right now, DT.
Yeah.
Man, this could be monumental. Take care of the business tomorrow, DT. Let that game just cruise on by. Everybody stays healthy, and then I can't wait for next week. I can't wait. Not because it'll be an atonement for the playoff loss last year, but just because it will put us in the driver's seat to get that 1 seat. That's all I want.
The NFL, one of the best entertainment businesses in the world.
Yes.
As soon as this schedule came out, Rob, one of the first things I said to you and Nickel City Crew, screw this game. I hate this game. I don't even care about it. When we were having our tickets, this is the first one we're going to sell.
Yes, we did say that.
Go to this game. I don't care about it. I didn't say I even hope we lose. I didn't go that far.
But what were we going to say if we won? Who cares?
Exactly.
Like what would Kansas City fans say?
Matter.
Who cares?
It literally doesn't matter.
The playoffs.
And then here we are 2 weeks out of if we go in there at 8-2.
I'm pulling my goatee hair
to give them maybe their first loss or their second loss and take over the 1 seed. So now this game actually does mean something, right? And we have to kind of buy back in and go with it. I wanted to be under the atonement of I hate this game. I want no part of it. I don't even care what happens. I'm not going to not watch it, but
of course,
whatever. Keep it moving. Maybe flip the dick if we do lose to them. Then we beat them again in the playoffs because we beat them every year in the regular season. Back to like the point where after the AFC Championship game, and they came and it was it's always been in Kansas City in the regular season. And we came out and had it was Sunday Night Ball on like early October. And they beat them bad. Micah Hyde picked 6, Dawson Knox long ball, Emmanuel Sanders long ball, and then every year it's been a good game. Last year was a really good game. 2 years ago was a heck of a game with the Taron Johnson pick, but beat them. And it was like, can we beat these guys? Yes, we can. Yeah. And now can't do it in the playoffs. So I didn't want to care about this game, but we have to because it could be 1 seed implications down the rest of the way. The Chiefs' schedule very, very
so light,
cakewalky, and not cakewalky for the Bills. So if there's any chance of the 1 seed, you have to beat them next week, or it's probably not happening.
Scott, I don't know what your thoughts were before the season, but DT is absolutely accurately descripting how we felt. I didn't give a shit about the game because we always beat in the regular season, and it doesn't matter. All I wanted was for Patrick Mahomes to get on a plane and to have to come to us for the playoffs. We got our wish last year. DT and I have talked about it on previous episodes. It was just a weird day. We had a great time that morning in the tailgate, and it was just the vibes were off, and I wasn't as confident. And then all of a sudden, when the chips mattered, it didn't matter. They came out again and they beat us, and it gives you such a sour taste. I was not interested in this game at all. And DT's right. I'm locked in, man. If we could win and take care of business like you guys have already talked about against Indy tomorrow, I'm locked in all week for Chiefs week. I really am. Yeah.
I've been trying not to get sucked into the absolute this is it. This is the year thing this year because, with the roster moves and dumping cash and losing Steph. And I was like, okay, so this is not a rebuild. You got Josh Allen. You're never completely out of it.
Right.
But you stack this roster against other years. This may not be our best shot. Mm-hmm. Now here we are, 8-2. We have a really great balanced offense. We got great things happening. We got new contributors, and we got a shot at the 1 seed. My thing right now, the rest of the way, you've got KC, Detroit, San Francisco, and the Rams are the big. I mean, all NFL teams are a threat because they're pros, right? But, but the games you're looking at that could really derail us.
Okay.
KC is conference, and it's obviously huge.
Right.
But I guess I want to see us beat a really good team. Like, I want to see what do we have? What do we have?
That's
okay,
right.
I'm not big on this whole, well, you haven't beaten a winning record. Well, we have. We've won the games, but man, we got into it with a good Baltimore team and got smoked.
Sure did.
Right now, I think we're a better team than what we showed that day.
Sure,
but the outcome,
we're a different team too now.
Yes, and we are. We certainly are. Yeah. So I want to see us put it down and beat Kansas City. Not absolutely for the shot at the 1 seed, but also I want to see what we got. Are we going there, Or is this that transition year where we're just going to have to deal with what we got and get stoked for next year, whatever, right? So, but that 1 seed, you're exactly right. Not having that extra game is an absolute advantage. And I get home field advantage. We had it. We had it 2 years. We had it against Cincy. We had it against the Chiefs.
Yep.
And those are cold weather teams, whatever.
Right.
We didn't get it done. Okay,
That's
fine.
right.
But yeah, the 1 seed is a big deal. And whenever we can beat KC, I love it. Now, I won't be talking much on Twitter until we beat them in the playoffs. Sure. And then I may become absolutely just unhinged. I may not be tolerable if we beat Kansas City in the playoffs. It may not be pretty. But let's get that 1 seed locked down. I'm with you guys. I'm all in at this point. But I'm not confident. I'm not confident because
of the Baltimore
defense.
game.
No, because KC's defense is so good, and we got to have our guys back, or that's going to be really tough. And Spagnuolo knows what to do against.
Okay, but we always play them close.
McDermott.
We always play them always close games, Scott. They don't blow us
down
out.
To hero ball.
Even the playoff game was close game.
Yep.
I mean, and everybody wanted to blame the drop on Steph and stuff like that, but I mean, it was a close game down to the wire.
It was.
I think we got a little bit lucky with the Poyer's forced fumble. I think that we were a little bit lucky. We were on the verge of it being a blowout, but we don't get blown out by those guys. DT, are you like Scott? Scott's like, he's not expecting a win. I told you guys, I think that the boogeyman is dead. I don't fear Mahomes the same way that I used to a couple years ago.
No, we can beat him. I'm confident about that.
DT?
Yeah. Well, go back. I'm a big roulette guy and talk probability all the time. And if they beat the Broncos this week and come in at 9-0, or would they be 10-0 at that point? Are they 8-0 right now?
8-0.
So they'd be 9-0.
Yeah.
Okay. If they come in 9-0, I mean, when are we ever going to see an undefeated NFL team again? We saw the Patriots a couple of years ago. Way more than a couple of years ago. At this point, we're getting old, but it's not going to be undefeated. A couple of years ago, it was Pittsburgh, and they weren't really that good. The Chiefs are a lot better than that. 10-0 team. Even the Eagles rattled off, 9-10 wins in a row. And so this team's going to lose in the regular season. And obviously, if they come in at 9-0, what's the better probability than in Buffalo, late, before Thanksgiving, right?
Sure,
so that's where I would say, if I'm outside looking in, I'd have confidence in Buffalo. And just like you said, we don't get blown out. Always a good game plan. Probably find a way to win it. Definitely find a way to lose it.
Sure.
But it's true. Like, it's really more for us than them. If they lose that game, they have a lot. They're still kind of cool until the 1 seed. If we lose that game, the 1 seed's basically out of.
I would agree. Stop talking about it. Yeah, you can.
Especially, you're probably going to drop a game against the Rams, Detroit or Frisco. One of those.
Oh my God!
You're probably going to drop one of those. So we really need, and thankfully they're out of conference, but it starts with overall record, and so we got to beat the Chiefs for that. We got to get that win, and I'm don't mistake I know we can.
Yeah, no,
and I've seen that we have, but I'm not
seeing it so many times. You don't even want to get yourself.
Well, and I haven't seen it from us this year. The 2 best teams we faced, we've lost to. Now that another 4 minutes of football, we probably would have beat Houston.
Right.
We're getting our shit kicked in early in that game.
Man, we did ourselves no favors, man. Yeah, and it took Nico Collins disappearing in the game.
And I've argued with some people on Twitter about this, Scott, because I have said what you said. I've said that, we haven't really beat anybody yet. And then people want to push back and they want, oh, you're a hater, this and that. I'm like, I'm not a hater. I'm just saying the facts that the opponents that we've had have been kind of soft. The Miami game script got way out of whack quickly. That's week 2, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with short fields. That's why Josh Allen doesn't have any yards that game, because everything was on the plus side of the field. Right. I think that the Baltimore game, what it did for me was it reaffirmed my previous notions, was that everybody eats, and we've already talked about that, DT and I ad nauseum. Everybody eats wasn't going to work. We knew that. I knew that, at least, and I know that half of Bills Mafia was buying into it, but I thought it was bullshit from the beginning. So that's why I wanted a replacement for Stephon Diggs. Obviously, Brandon Beane does that a couple weeks later after that Houston loss, and we were so happy to see it because of the fact that we need weapons for Josh, and he needs to be surrounded, and this committee approach is not going to work. So now that Amari Cooper is here, I do feel better about the team, but I just don't know. I haven't seen Baltimore look scary to me offensively. And because they look scary to me offensively, I'm not sure if we're on their level now, because that's a game that you're going to have to score a bunch of points. Now, we haven't seen Amari Cooper be integrated in this offense quite yet. So I don't have I don't have enough data to form an opinion on what we would do in a rematch with them. I know we can beat Houston for sure. I've already seen that, and I know that we can take care of them. But Kansas City is like the next bar. It's the next test. So that's why I'll be so excited for next week, just like you talked about, Scott. It's because of the fact that I have a chance to see. What do we always talk about, DT? Litmus test. I want to see what my team has. What are you really made of? And the only way you find that out is getting in the ring with another heavyweight, and we'll have an opportunity to do that. Now, as we begin to wrap up, some great college football on today. I know that as well. The Nickel City Crew Tailgate Report, presented by Queen City Vintage. Head on over to Queen City Vintage for all of your Buffalo Bills and Sabres retro threads. Our buddy Nick is running a great site. He's got a shop there on Elmwood right across from 40 Thieves. Check them out. Queen City Vintage. I think it's Queen_City_Vintage_716. If you can follow that, they need to find a way to come up with different. I'm still advocating for a new name. So come up with something easier than all the damn underscores. But anyways, check them out. We are really, really proud to partner with them. And we really appreciate their support for Nickel City Crew. Now, DT, my tailgate report. I don't know, man. I don't want to out you, but it was funny because we're in that group thread, with all the OGs from our tailgate, and everybody's looking for you. So I'm actually going to let you go first because shout out to Big Ben, and Big Ben sent in the text on the joint. He's like, "Yo, where's your boy? Where's Rob?" And obviously you can see the text messages coming through. You're not responding. Everybody's wondering where you are. I was, obviously in Charlotte, but I know that shout out to our boys over there that held it down. It looks like they had a nice little cookout with some pork shoulder. What happened to you, DT? Report. The crew demands a report. Crew demands a report.
I need to. I will come clean. I will come clean on the report. Apologize to the OG crew. I got some. Obviously those texts, and they kept it civil. But the real OGs, Brandon and Steph, and he let me hear it. So I'll give them that. I'll start it from the whole weekend here.
Please do.
So the audience can kind of understand. I'm not making excuses, but
I love it. Hey man, just reasons.
All right, we had the annual 3:30 Spooktacular Saturday night.
Yes, I've attended before. It's a wonderful event. Annual
Halloween party at the Batch Pad. Rob's been in attendance. This was one of our better ones. We had probably 50 plus heads here. Wow. Some obviously a lot of us are older now and have a lot of my friends have families, and so this is like the one night everyone can come out and let loose, and enjoy themselves and have a good time. We usually try to do it not before a home game, because if we're going to the game, it's tough. An away game, you wake up, you sleep until 11, you wake up, it's game time, you're good. So I got myself in a little overbooked situation. I'll be honest, City Crew and the original tailgate report. A lot going on, 50 plus heads. The party obviously didn't end early on Saturday, and me being the host I am, I'm out there for the last of it.
Gracious host.
So Sunday came around real early, even though we did have the daylight savings. The clocks fell back.
Yep, we got an extra hour.
God, who knows, that extra hour probably legit saved a lot of lives. And it was just a later start into the morning. I know they were full blown. Like, I got my phone dinged from Ben when they hit the New York border at 6 a.m.
I got that one.
I might have I was thinking oh man, I might have just fell asleep. So that was a tough one. A little later start. I had to kind of reroute and ride with, hitch a ride because I didn't want to mess with, loading up the car and driving myself at that point. So safety first.
It wasn't really worth
Nickel
it.
City Crew. So I had to hitch a ride, and we just kind of ended up getting there to a little easier maneuvering lot. And, so
you missed our grass lots altogether. You missed Brandon and all.
Wasn't a full tailgate, so I apologize to that. I know they had a good time down there. I definitely missed getting some of that pork shoulder. That looked good. Kenny, shout out, and the DJ Ben and the girls were getting after it. So apologize. I hope we can do it again and be back, and I have a full fresh day and give you everything the DT usually gives you. But that's the story. We're getting older, Rob. We're getting older. Those days are long. I had to have a little later start than usual. So
Man, there's no judgment coming from my end. I mean, I would never judge you. I love you, so I would never judge you. Now, it's just so funny because, like I said, those text messages were going through on the group chat, and you were not responding. I was like, DT is out for the count. Like I already know him, so I know that he's out. But it was just so funny. Now, down here in Charlotte, man, we had a great time. We'll get a tailgate report as well from Scott, because that's what we do here at Nickel City Crew, Scott. So you'll have to get your tailgate report and let us know how you enjoyed the game. So before I go, how did you consume the game on Sunday there in Ohio? What part of Ohio are you in?
So I'm in West Central Ohio, and I'm at the mercy of course, NFL scheduling. And so I'm in Browns and Bengals country,
of course.
And if it's not Browns and Bengals, it's Colts and Steelers. Okay. Those are kind of the hierarchy. So I've been feasting on the Bills being awesome and catching prime time, or like the Seattle game was on, because that was the most compelling game of the day that week, and it was 4:05. So my tailgate is a joke. It was me watching the game on Twitter, which is the worst way to watch a team you're a rabid fan of, because all you can do is react to the reactors. Not good.
Okay,
I'm watching the game on Twitter.
It's not like a live feed or anything like that.
I've had to rewatch it. And so that was my consumption. But normally I snack out. I own the living room. I get custody for about 3 hours from my wife.
There you go.
And I do my thing, and I talk to my people on Twitter. Alistair Sloan is kind of my Twitter buddy. And I like to listen to guys like you and watch your stuff, and like Bruce Nolan. And then the media guys. I'm a big Sal Capaccio fan, and I like the WGR Cats. So that's kind of how I consume Bills football from Ohio. But I'm a Western New York original.
So you are born and raised, though.
I was born and raised. Yeah, I went to Forestville High School and moved to Ohio in 1984.
No problem.
I'm an old codger. But I'm a Bills. Like my Bills are Joe Ferguson is my Bill. He's my guy. So I go back a couple of days.
Nickel City Crew. Somebody's got to drop this man. I was
just gonna. You took the words out of my mouth. I'm gonna hook you up as soon as we get off this podcast, because you do not have to go through that for sure. There are ways that are either legal or illegal. I really don't know.
I got you. Wink, wink. But I need to get up there. I need to get. I'm watching I like to follow like Kristen Kimmick and Abby. They make tailgating come alive even from Ohio, and I need to get up there for the right weekend and visit the mud lot and hit some of these tailgates. I want to go to the Bills helmet bar. I want to meet Del Reed. I've got his Bob Ross t-shirt where he's painting the Josh Allen Bills logo. So I'm like as all in as you can get from New York. I got my Josh Allen jersey. I got my Wyoming Cowboys jersey. So I'll go head to toe in the gear. My pug has a shirt for the Bills.
That's what's up.
And his name is Ferguson. I don't know where that came from. So we're all in it from a distance, but I need to get up there and experience, the Western New York tailgate experience. And I'll get there, and I'll make sure to chase you down, because I want to meet you guys, because this is cool. But face to face is where it's at. So, and that's what I love about Bills Mafia is even just on Twitter, the family, you can feel it comes through, even when we're yelling at each other. That's what families do.
Bills equal family. That's how we started this season, man. And that's absolutely right, for sure. And if you ever come up for a game, definitely check out DT.
I sure will.
And I'll try to come up as well, for sure, because next season I'll be back. I'll be having my season tickets back. The only reason I don't have them, if you've been listening along, is because I had my first baby girl, so I had to get the season tickets this year. But I'll be right back on next year, because next year is the finale. Next year they're closing the route, so it's the farewell tour. So I'll definitely won't miss that. So I can't wait for next season.
Or from my day, Rich Stadium is finally coming to a conclusion,
absolutely.
Right? But
I get to Charlotte. Rich Stadium.
Exactly. I get to Charlotte for work, so now I'm gonna chase you down.
Oh, look!
So we're going to get together and get some poor equivalent of wings.
Oh no, I've got
Charlotte.
a great place.
I got the spot.
Of course you do.
Yes, they're Buffalonians, and
I found a Bills backer bar downtown.
Yes, there is. Hickory Tavern on the Tracks is a popular place. I used to go there pre-kids. Now I've got kids. I can't.
All right, man. So hook me up when I come down there.
Yeah, man. Look me up for sure and shout at me. I'll get you my number when we get off with this episode, along with that string, for sure, because you definitely don't need to be in Twitter jail.
That's not the place to watch football. Yeah, on Twitter I'm part of the problem. So I gotta.
my tailgate report as we wrap up tonight. Last week, it was just cool, man. We had everybody over. It seems like the baby DT brings everybody together. All of a sudden, everybody wants to hang out at my house. Everybody, the ex-wife's over, and all the kids are here, and Jody's here, and like everybody's here. So it's all of a sudden I'm just the happening spot, and it's like I'm not that cool. And okay, it's Princess Ivy. So I'm starting to get it. We've got more plans for tomorrow as well. But yeah, everybody was chilling last week. We had a little bit of, what did we have last week, Nate? We had a little bit of everything last week. Nate was watching the game at his buddy's house because they had a birthday party, but everybody else was here, DT. It was crazy. I mean, the pace was packed. Everybody's watching the game. Nice. We've got food going, and I was a nervous wreck, like I said, because of the fact that we weren't separating. So by the time they go on that last drive, I left. Like, I went to the shed. You already know, DT. I'll go and I'll separate myself. And I just went to the shed. I'm like, I can't deal with this shit anymore. So everybody was enjoying themselves, enjoying the baby. And I'm like, why are you guys all effing smiling? If they go for two, they could beat us or whatever, So I just went to the shed and I consumed the rest of the game out there in the shed by myself. And I could focus. I felt like Howard Simon or something like that. Like he gets in that little fear bunker. And that's exactly what the shed has become for me. So that's how we did it down here, man. I really appreciate all of your time today. Some wicked college football on today. That they said this is Separation Saturday, so I can't wait to get a chance to look at it. I know the SEC's got some big matchups that are gonna really decide some seasons. I think they came out with that college football playoff little initial 1 to 12, and that was cool to see. So I'm interested in today's college football action. No sports today, DT. Daddy is off the hook. I get the chance to lay horizontal and watch football for the first Saturday in forever. I'm waking up early at 8:00 for a soccer game. I'm like, what person what kind of, are we on punishment? We work all week and then we have to get up at 7 something in the morning to go watch our own kids play soccer in the cold. I'm like, who came up with this shit? Why can't we start at 10? So soccer's over. Football is over. So I get a chance to get a reprieve for this week. Basketball starts right back up next week. So it's all good, but at least I get this week. So I hope you guys enjoy your Saturday for sure. Shout out to Scott. Check him out at Scott M. Frey on Twitter. He's a beast on Twitter. He knows what he's doing
today, man.
And we really appreciate having you on. And DT will close us out tonight with our next giveaway. Crew, DT, what do we got?
So the Queen City Vintage Nickel City Crew tailgate report giveaway last week. If you guys were following, the shirt we got was from Queen City Vintage, was the DK Brothers print they have with Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. And that was actually the shirt both those guys wore into the game on Sunday versus the Dolphins.
Yes, because it was tight end day, right?
Yes.
I think it was National Tight End Day. Yep.
Well, no, that was the week. That was the next week. But
okay.
This is the day they wore the shirts to the Dolphins game. Sunday. So they came in with this shirt. This is the shirt we gave away. Nick said good thing we got one, because once everybody saw Knox and Kincaid in them, they sold out by Tuesday on the shirt. So a lot of these shirts around town, and it went to actually our listener Dave Kirchner got it, which ended up being Dave Kirchner, DK Brothers. There you go.
Meant to
be.
It
worked out well for him. So congrats on that. And I saw we had a couple of our other giveaway participants show their stuff that they got too. So it's out there. It's a good thing going on. This is fun, Rob.
I love it.
So this week I was talking to Nick and I said, let's change it up a little. We're doing shirts, we're doing hoodies. Let's get the hat game going, because they got some great hats in the store too.
What are we giving away? Show us.
I said, let me see. I want a couple crazy hats we can give away to the listeners. So this is what we got. The first one is a little, I don't know if this is a chef hat, some sort of chef.
Yes.
A little off of my head here.
I would definitely be in the kitchen with that. Yes. I'd be in the kitchen with that.
The Bills chefs, that's a big thing.
And it's the red helmet.
Got the red helmet, man.
Of my
gun days.
If you have a smaller head than me, it'll fit you, but it kind of looks good. There you go, a chef's hat.
I love it.
Cool
looks like a fez on you, man.
Something else that I've been seeing variations of these, but I really like this one. This is kind of the Flintstone style.
Yes, we see those in the stadium all the time, coming back from commercials. Back from commercials, you always see those the old watering hole.
Water buffalo club.
The old water buffalo. It pans out nice.
Yep,
nice
I got one of those.
There. So you got a nice this hat, and if you want to go a little more conservative, pop on your chef's hat here. So
I love it.
That's the giveaway this week. We'll I love it. Our We'll get our creative director get this out. Olivia, congrats to Olivia. Actually closed on her house in Orchard Park.
Congratulations.
Homeowner to Olivia, right in Orchard Park, right down
That's
the street.
awesome.
That's from the stadium. So she might be the new startup for the tailgate. We leave from Liv's house and make it happen from there. So a couple nice hats. We'll get going. We'll get the post out this weekend. And good luck. Keep rocking.
Yeah, man, I love it. We really do love the engagement. Again, shout out to Queen City Vintage for helping us out. And again, shout out, DT already said it, shout out to our creative director, Olivia Nagel. She literally makes everything go when it comes to social media because, as you all know, I am horrible at it. And because of that, we had to hire her. We needed her desperately. I needed her desperately. And I'm really, really appreciative. My gratitude to her is beyond words. So we really appreciate her helping us out. So listen, fellas, enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Nickel City Crew, we really appreciate you guys checking us out today on a little Saturday brunch. We really appreciate it. Again, my apologies for last week. Those on IG Live got a chance to see it, but otherwise, we're right back at it. Every platform, we're on them every Friday. I love the TGIFs, by the way, DT. That's going to work out well for us. I love TGIFs. So check us out, 6 o'clock every Friday. Nickel City Crew, we really appreciate the support. That's really why we do this thing. And the giveaways, yes, has been another way for us to engage with Bills Mafia. And as our guest, Scott, told us earlier, Bills equal family. We had an episode literally named Bills equal family. Yeah. So we really enjoy it. And we enjoy you guys. Thanks for catching us today. Listen, out there, spread love, not hate, especially after this election shit. I had to stay off Twitter listen, it doesn't matter who you vote for. Doesn't matter who won, who didn't. Listen, spread love, not hate. Yeah. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with a go Bills, Scott. That's what we do at the end of every show. Hit them with a go Bills, DT. Let's go.
Let's go. Go Bills.
Go Bills, baby.
8-2. 8-2.
8-2.
Ooh, I like it.
Take care of that business.